Hello, everybody. I hope. Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's having a good week thus far. We're, of course, at Hump Day now. Um, just give me a sec. I'm going to go off camera here for a quick sec before I get started. So, put some music on for you guys, and then we will. When I come back, we'll talk a bit for give people a chance to get in here and all that. I am back. So hopefully, everybody's having a good week as far as I said. We'll be getting waiting a few minutes to give people a chance to come in. Um, uh, it is hump day, so it's the middle of the week. That time again to start. That time again to start. People a chance to get them come in here. We'll get started. Okay. Meet George Jetson. Do-do-do-do-do. Yes, boy, oh boy. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Daughter Judy. Jane, his wife. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. All right. So, anyways, yeah. So we're gonna actually be going. Let's see. Well, we'll wait a few more minutes. We're just over at Hero Chat channel. Um, don't forget, Chris and Diane Samovich will be here this Friday for our weekly historical comics work. We're still working our way through April of 1939. This time looking at Jumbo Comics, I believe volume one, number 8. From Fiction House, we'll be reading, of course, the future of Teenage Jungle. Weird Stories of the Supernatural, this is the Diary of Dr. Hayward, Gilda Gay, plus whatever other ones we decide to read as we go along there. Hopefully you'll all come back and join me then. From the town of Bedrock, there's a place right out of history. That's right, with the family down the street, Rudolph, courtesy of Federal Heat. When you're with the Flintstones, have a yabba dabba do time, a dabba do time, or have a gay old time. Anyways, I gotta step away from the computer for one more moment. I'll be right back. Gonna move some music on to, all right, so here we go. I'm here. Yes, that's my comment. Anyway, let's see what's so okay. So we're at 9 minutes now, so not almost 9.5. So I guess it'd be a good time to go over what's going on tonight. So I got 10 articles I'm going to go over, all from comic books, CBR. Also we'll do a wrestling wrap up. We'll probably be hitting some anime, 6 anime stories, 3 comic related stories, and a cartoon related story. Um, among the anime-related stories, apparently a voice actress got fired from Crunchyroll for participating in a fan dub. We got some profile pieces um, on animes like Erased, Esclafone, Yorosei Yatsura. There's some, I guess, some bad health news coming out from Yoshihiro Togashi, the creator of Hunter x Hunter and Yu Yu Hakusho. We'll be looking at that. On the comic side of it, of course, let's see, you got Marvel coming out with Marvel. We got a couple Marvel stories. One involving Latin Heroes variant series, as well as a new creative team. Look at the new creative team for Fantastic Four, and then in between those, of course, in the latest Batman title from DC's Black label, the Joker will now be partnering up with Batman. Also, apparently, according to HBO Max, there won't be a fifth season for Young Justice. So that's basically all that we got. That's all the news that we'll be covering for you tonight. So with that, why don't we go ahead and get started then? So let's see here. Okay. Okay, let's see. There we go, that one. All right, so here we go. All right, so all right, so Crunchyroll reportedly fires voice actor for working on a Chainsaw Man fandom. Crunchyroll fires Classroom of the Elite voice actor Anna Lazare Gishi for her work on the Chainsaw Man trailer's French language fandom. Really? Article by Brenna Lahner, published 1 day ago. And this was still inside of the day when I first saw it, but I still wanted to go over it because this sounded kind of interesting. So, voice actor, or I would think it's more actress, but Anna Lazare Gishi reported that she was fired from her role in Classroom of the Elite due to her voice work in a Chainsaw Man fandom. Lazare Gishi, who played Kikyo Kushida in Classroom of the Elite's French dub, announced on Twitter that Crunchyroll had decided to terminate her contract. According to Lazare Gishi, she obtained permission from Crunchyroll to discuss the reason for her departure with fans. She attributed her termination to her work on a fan dub for the popular manga series Chainsaw Man. Now, why they would, again, it would also depend upon did this happen while she was while she's under contract with Crunchyroll, or was this prior to her, being in Crunchyroll's employee? That'd be a big question to answer, because I mean, I could see them being upset or firing her if she was under contract to Crunchyroll and maybe they had an exclusive contract with her to where she could not do other, she could not do other dubs or what have you. But now, according to this, she's attributing that, but let's see. So yeah, this is, I guess, in French. So, okay, so quote, Anna Lazare Gishi is no longer contracted by Crunchyroll for dubbing roles, unquote, Crunchyroll said in a statement given to Anime News Network. Quote, we can't comment on the reasons for her departure, but do wish her the best in her career. Okay, so something else, well, for all we know, something else could have been going on then. She's speculating that it has to do with her work on the fandom. Lazare Gishi said that she wished for a more amicable outcome, but that other options, such as removing the fandub from the internet, were not offered to her. She expressed shock and disappointment with the decision, citing that an increasing amount of professional voice actors find their way to the field through amateur fandub roles that allow them to refine their skills, which is true. I mean, fandubs a lot of times are not necessarily out there to make money; they're to give people experience. But then again, I can see Crunchyroll's argument being, well, I mean, what's the point if people can go watch a fan dub? Now, granted, a lot of times there are some people who are critical of fan dubs too, because oftentimes maybe the work isn't as good as maybe when you're doing when you have more of a professional feel to it. But there are a lot of people there are a lot of I guess the current crop of, there are probably a number of the younger or the newer voice actors and actresses who probably did do some work on fan dubs so that they could get practice in. They weren't making money on those fan dubs, I don't believe. But then, from Crunchyroll's perspective, as a business perspective, if a person can go watch it for free, even if the dubbing may not be quite as good as, let's say, one that's dubbed by a more professional studio, like, well, Crunchyroll through Funimation. But then, of course, that's also debatable. That's also depending upon, okay, in the fan dubs, how they script it too. Are the fan dubs more in line with what the original intent was of the anime as well? Again, these are a lot of underlying issues there that anyways, continuing on with the article here, let's see. Well, that allow them to yeah, I mean, in some ways, it's kind of ironic that they would fire her over doing a fan dub when it's probably the fan dub that probably allowed her to develop her work enough to where they'd want to hire her in the first place. But let's continue on with the article here. She stated that she hopes hers will be an isolated case and expressed well wishes for the actor who will play Kikyo from now on, urging fans not to insult or otherwise harass her successor. Yeah, I mean, also, if this was over her being a part of a fan dub, then of course the question would then come, well, why is she being singled out when if there are other voice actors they have on there who have also came up to the ranks through fan dubs? Now, could this be because of the fact I think Crunchyroll is the thing? I'm not completely sure, but if Crunchyroll is the one that's streaming Chainsaw Man, and maybe this fan dub is kind of a threat to that. Because maybe they're afraid that the fan dub will take money away from them. I could see that being a possibility too. But but again, in the statement she just made, if you do have a lot of these newer voice actors and actresses who are honing their craft with fan dubs, getting hired, and then you're firing this one, why are you singling this particular voice actress out? I wonder if there's more to. You have to kind of wonder if there's maybe more to it than just simply, her, doing a fan dub. You have to kind of wonder if there's more to it. She's speculating that it's because of her work in a fan dub, but I wonder if there's more to it than that. And maybe she ought to look, maybe she ought to look a little deeper too. I would advise Anna, maybe she might want to look a little deeper because, are there, would there be anybody maybe at Crunchyroll that maybe, was there anything more? Because Crunchyroll seems to be tight-lipped about it as well. I wonder if there's something else. You almost have to wonder if there's something else going on there. Again, I'm just speculating. We can only go primarily on what we hear here. She's speculating that she was let go because of her involvement with fandub. Crunchyroll really isn't confirming or denying that per se. They're not really saying anything, so we don't know 100% for sure what it actually is. But if they gave her permission to talk about her release, then maybe it is, maybe it is. Again, I'm just bringing up both points here. Anyways, continuing on here. Lazare Gishi was fired due to her work on a French language fan dub of the trailer for the popular manga series, Chainsaw Man anime adaptation. The fan dubbed trailer has not yet been released in full, but a preview of the project features Lazare Gishi's voice in a voiceover. Okay. So, and I'm guessing she was still under contract with if she's still under contract with Crunchyroll, that might be an issue. Lazare Gishi got her start as a voice actor working on French language fan dubs and fan projects, including the YouTube channel Regarding Take. Regarding Take produces short parodies of popular anime series such as Attack on Titan and Jujutsu Kaisen. She's also known for her voice work on the French language dubs for shows like Fire Force, Food Wars, and Rent a Girlfriend. So she's obviously a French language dubber. It would appear to be the case here. She works on like French language dubs of these animes, based on the manga of the same name by Tatsuki Fujimoto. The anime adaptation of Chainsaw Man is set to be dubbed by Crunchyroll upon its release. Okay, in October 2022. Okay, so if it's being dubbed, I could see now why they'd have an issue then, because the fan dub would be in direct competition to the Crunchyroll dub. Even if it's just a trailer. So currently, the award-winning manga has over 15 million copies sold. The story follows an impoverished teen named Denji who makes a deal with a chainsaw devil, causing him to fuse with a creature that allows him to change parts of his body into chainsaws. Quite a horrific story, huh? Chainsaw Man is set to be released on Crunchyroll sometime in October. A new voice actor for Kikyo on the French language version of Classroom of the Elite has not yet been announced. So, at least based on what we can read here, a lot of this just seems to be revolving around her working on the fan dub of something that would be in direct competition to what they're doing. That seems to be the issue there. Oh. All right. So anyways, get ready to move on to the next article here. Um, all right, here. So here's a profile piece here that we're going to look at. Erased. Now, normally erased is all caps usually when it's presented, but I don't know if the author here didn't know that or what. Erased. Satoru is a tragic hero with one of the saddest endings for a protagonist. Yeah, it was kind of sad, but anyways, um, Satoru from Erased didn't just miss out on a happy ending. He also experienced heartbreaking loss despite his heroic deeds. Article by Alexis Chambers, published 1 day ago. Um, yeah, this revolving around, of course, him and friends from school. So here we go. Depressing endings are far from rare in the anime industry. Series such as Assassination Classroom, Your Lie in April, and Angel Beats leave viewers tearful and brokenhearted. And yes, that's true. I've seen all three of those animes as well. I've seen all four of these animes, and they all have pretty tragic endings. At their conclusion, with beloved characters dying or people losing loved ones. However, not all sad endings involve death. While Erased protagonist Satoru may have been successful in bringing down the series' antagonist and made it out of the series alive, he also experiences one of the saddest endings, though it is more hollow than heart-wrenching. With the time-traveling ability called quote-unquote revival, Satoru Fujinuma goes back in time to his elementary school years to save his recently murdered mother, as well as three of his classmates who were kidnapped and murdered in the past. As Satoru uses his ability to successfully change the past and investigate the root of the abductions and murders, he finds himself in the clutches of the culprit, his teacher, Yashiro, resulting in an accident that lands Satoru in a 15-year coma. After Satoru wakes up and reorients himself to reality, he finds that he successfully saved his mother and classmates, but is once again face to face with Yashiro, ultimately bringing his former teacher to justice. Now, you think about that, being able to go back and rewrite history like that, especially when it's a dark piece of history. Um, Anyways, give me a moment here. I need to take care of something here real quick. I'll be right back, but I'll turn on some music for you guys. All right, I'm back. Continue on with the article here. All right, so right. Well, Satoru, undisputedly the hero of the series, he doesn't necessarily control his power. Satoru's revival ability is triggered when a life-threatening event takes place, such as when a truck driver passes out from a health emergency nearly runs over a child. Pizza delivery man um, and struggling mangaka, pizza delivery man and struggling mangaka or manga creator, Satoru, doesn't intentionally seek out opportunities to use his abilities. However, he does intervene when situations call for it. Even if he thinks to himself that nothing good comes from getting involved, Satoru's noble character shines in his willingness to save his mother and classmates, but the involuntary nature of Satoru's ability makes his own fate that much sadder. He basically has no control over whether or not he's a hero. Is what they're trying to say there. Ah, perhaps Erase most discussed and controversial tragedy for Satoru is the fact that he doesn't end up with Kayo. While Satoru did not notice her in the original timeline and wouldn't have had a future with her before he traveled back in time, viewers can easily get their hopes up for a romantic ending as Satoru's efforts to save her from a special to save her form a special bond between the two. However, many fans were disappointed to find that after Satoru wakes up from his 15-year coma, Kayo is married and has a child with their mutual friend Hiromi. Even if this ending is much more realistic and not nearly as depressing as some might think, it emphasizes all that Satoru misses out on as a result of the coma. Now, some of you who may know Japanese naming cultures and all that, you wonder, okay, isn't Hiromi a girl's? Normally, I think Hiromi is a girl's name, but boys can have names too. There are some names that are not necessarily exclusive to one gender or the other. Hiromi can be a boy's name. Um, just in case you're wondering. What truly makes Satoru such a tragic hero is the life he misses out on in exchange for saving those he cares about. Although this is certainly a worthy sacrifice, it is understandably a depressing one. Satoru spends 15 years in a coma while those around him continue their lives. Unsure of whether he will ever wake up, he misses out on growing up and appreciating the lives he saved. While Satoru doesn't have to sacrifice life fully to save those he cares about, he does give up major parts of his life. So he doesn't give up his life in the sense that he doesn't give up his biological life. Basically, is what they're saying there. He doesn't. He doesn't die. His body doesn't come to an end. He's not put 6 feet in the ground, as it were. Okay. But the sad part is that because he's in a coma, he can't have a lot of the experiences that a lot of people take for granted growing up. He can't experience like have the idea of having friends, of having his first coma, having his first kiss. You know, I mean, they'd be much different for him because he's now coming out of coma as an adult. But you know, going to your first movie, without your parents, you know, and making your own purchases. You know, a lot of that stuff is missing out on those life experiences he's gonna. And that I think is what they're talking about when say it's a sad, a sad existence. Let's see. The reality of lost time and unlived experiences will remain with him throughout the rest of his life. A tragedy that not many other anime protagonists experience. And it's not something that's really talked about a whole lot, you know. The experiences you have. Now, whether that's, watching an anime, watching a cartoon, or reading a comic book, or seeing a movie, the experiences that come with that make life all the more richer. Is what they're talking about here. And that can be a very sad thing, even if you don't, quote unquote, die, you don't physically die, but in a way you socially die, because you don't get to have those experiences. A race ending might not be heart-wrenchingly sad, but the loss that Satoru experiences in exchange for the lives he saves leave viewers with a sense of emptiness that is much more profound than a shocking death. Satoru's um, um, tragedy may be easily overlooked as it doesn't bear the same intensity as other devastating endings in anime. In other words, it's not like he suffers. It's not like he sits there and suffers a very, very violent and gruesome death, as it were, as maybe happen in a lot of animes. His death, as it were, is a little more subtle. His death is a little more subtle. So let's see. However, the losses he does experience demonstrate the beauty of a sacrifice made without reward other than the livelihood and happiness of others. Good article there. Made some interesting points there. Anyways, going on to our another kind of profile piece here. This one regarding Escalfone. I have a third person here. Hello, third person. If you can like and share the stream, that would be very helpful. See if we can get some more people in here. And if you have if anything grabs your attention, if you want to comment on anything here, feel free to do so. Anyways, as we get ready to move on to the next article here. Let's see now. Alrighty then. Escalaflone elevated sibling warfare to a grand scale. The vision of Escalaflone's world contains problematic sibling rivalries and ever-changing fates that create complex conflicts. Article by Nathaniel Meyer, just one day ago. Alright, so here we go. When magic and technology can alter individual fates, their loyalties and identities get muddled, adding another layer of complexity to personal and political relations. An overconfident megalomaniac, Emperor Dornkirk, manipulates Gaia, the vision of Escalone's world, to obtain the idea of utopia without any means. We've seen this meme, this trope, this theme before, haven't we, guys? And a few places, right? Anyways, let's see. Let's see, where are we at? Okay. Which has caused worldwide strife. While this conflict is large scale, its core messages and motivation shine through two siblings, Van and Falcon Fennell, and Alan and Selena Shazar. Falcon Fennell masterminds Emperor Dornkirk's industrial Zyback Empire, while the elite troops are led by a manipulated and controlled Selena Shazar. Selena is experimented on to become a super soldier, losing her identity and emerging with a different maniacal male personality, Delandau Albata. Selena's lost identity and Fulton's loss of humanity embody the negative aspects of utopia. Yeah, so imagine getting experimented on to the point to where you go through a forced gender change and also, and in the process, become a socialist. That's essentially what happened to you. The Fennell brothers are driving factors and symbols for the opposing sides in the conflict, with Van as a symbol of hope for potential freedom, Vulcan as a symbol of despair and colonialism. When Van realizes his brother is alive and has been a guiding force for Zybok, the Empire that demolished their homeland of Phenalia, it makes the conflict extremely personal. Their story unfolds into a tragedy as Vulcan's motivations come to light. Now, I need to just go off camera here for a moment. I'll be right back. I hope you guys are enjoying the content thus far. As if you can help out, like sharing the stream, that would be appreciated. It helps me webcast. That's the way it's and I'm back. As I said, you're enjoying the content. As always, feel free to comment anything grabs your attention. Comment on. Anyways, continuing on with the article here. Let's see. All right. All right. Like of most of the Zybok Empire, Vulcan found um, himself convinced of Dornkirk's vision for utopia after being saved by the Empire's science. Vulcan is gifted a prosthetic arm um, that comes to symbolize his initial corruption and separation from the traditional values of his land. Vulcan, yeah, isn't that always the case? technology pervert tradition, pervert the morals of ancient times. Right? Vulcan's initially adversarial role gives way to proper brotherly position um, as he wakes up to Dornkirk's corrupt method for obtaining utopia. Vulcan's attempt at manipulating fate to Dornkirk dwindles his lifespan and turned his wings black. When Van realizes his brother's condition, it motivates him to stop Dornkirk's machinations. Van and Vulcan's rivalry stems from differing perspectives. However, as their familial bonds reignited, they find shared pursuit of a peaceful world, allowing them to surpass their limits and overcome a far greater adversary. Far greater adversary. The Cesar siblings situation is even messier than the Fennels. Alan's sister has been assumed dead for years, only to be revealed as alive but living as a different person. The Landau Albata. Zyback altered her identity and appearance to create a super soldier who would lead high-tech mecha in Dornkirk's war. All right. Anyway, I just gotta fix something here real quick. I'm gonna stop share screen for a moment here. Gotta just fix something here. All right. Well, so anyway, sometimes sometimes you hit buttons and you don't know what's actually going on. So certain screens will not always work for you for some reason. Don't even know why. But anyways, getting back to the article here on this. All right. De Landau is a terrifying example of Dornkirk's alteration experiments. De Landau and Selena exist as separate beings in a shared body, both struggling to hold onto their sense of identity and self. However, human experimentation of fate altered Selena to the extent that the other entity inside her became intense rivals with her brother Alan. Alan and De Landau's rivalry is wrought with chivalry and honor as Alan looks down upon De Landau's methods. De Landau's deep-rooted fear of being alone leads to stealthy or underhanded tactics to keep him and his crew alive The experiments that broke Selena's identity leave her alternate personality incomplete and tattered. So wow, they messed with her head so much it just completely just ravaged her mind there. After a severe loss, the Landau reverts to Selena and finds Alan at an old family estate. Alan's commitments change upon realizing the truth about Selena and de Landau. The identity of de Landau fades during the final battle after Selena and de Landau's caretaker sacrifices themselves to save their life. Alan later protects a reborn Selena from Van, who is unaware of de Landau's complex identity. As these two sibling rivalries dissolve, Zybok's grasp on Gaia dissipates. Almost like they're saying that through conflict, that's how Dornkirk is able to keep his machinations going through conflict. Vulcan and Selena's connection to their true selves or siblings can overcome Dornkirk's manipulations. Sibling rivalry became a core element of Escaflowne's war. That further solidified Van and Alan's conviction to tear down the Zybok Empire. Escaflowne beautifully establishes the potential for a family to overcome an internal or external adversary, even when family members start on opposite sides of a conflict. Oh, there you go. Hey, I don't know, maybe that last line there was maybe like in relation to something like the Civil War. But anyways, getting ready to move on to next article here. And we're moving on up to the east side. We finally got a piece of the pie. Yeah. Anyways, moving on here a bit here. Hunter x Hunter creator shares troubling health news. Hunter x Hunter and Yu Yu Hakusho creator Yoshihiro Togashi shares a worrying update on his health, prompting many fans to wish him well. Article by Maya Palmer, published 14 hours ago. I've seen both of these animes. I love. I've seen Yu Yu Hakusho anime. I've seen both versions of the Hunter x Hunter anime. All good works there. So anyways, Yoshihiro Togashi, creator of Hunter x Hunter, shared a concerning update about his ongoing personal health issues on Twitter, which is expected to further delay the manga's long-awaited return. According to Anime News Network, the manga artist stated, quote, "My symptoms are not improving, and my treatment and recovery have been taking up a large amount of my time," unquote. Since the statement, he has provided additional updates on his ongoing condition and how it has been affecting his work, detailing debilitating back pain, as well as a loss of function in his right hand. And if he's right-handed, that would make probably writing and or drawing very difficult. Several fans have commented on his post wishing him good health and showing their support for the creator. This update comes after numerous teases regarding the manga's return, according to Togashi commenting that he had completed the drafts for several chapters while posting images of many manga frame layouts on social media throughout May of 2022. In July of the same year, last month basically, He also shared that the first 10 chapters of the manga um, were completed and just needed to be inked in. Hunter x Hunter um, has been running in Weekly Shonen Jump since March 1998. So that's like 24 years right there. Um, with the English version published in Viz Media, currently consisting of 36 volumes, the manga has been on hiatus since November 2018 and has taken several breaks in years prior, leading Togashi to create a personal Twitter account to keep fans updated. Due to the frequent breaks, the anime adaptation has been broken into two series. The original show that aired from 1999 to 2001 that covered all chapters that were published at the time, and the reboot in 2011 that remained faithful to the source. Hunter x Hunter follows Gon Freak, a young boy determined to find his missing father, who was a member of the Hunter Association, a group that employs gifted individuals from around the world, assigns them fantastical missions. Togashi is also known for creating Yu Yu Hakusho, which similarly ran in Weekly Shonen Jump from December 1990 to July 1994. And the anime itself, I believe, ran from 92 to 94. Originally in Japan, and will soon feature a live action adaptation of Netflix. Both series are widely considered to be some of the most influential shonen works of their times. Yeah, I love all the series too. I love both Hunter x Hunter series and Yu Yu Hakusho is like my favorite all time anime. Just what anime gives them a 2011 reboot of Hunter x Hunter is available on Netflix and Crunchyroll, with no current update on when to expect a new season. Alrighty then, so there we go with that one. So at least we got people watching, so that's good. Um, so we're coming up on an hour, so making good time here. Glad to see that. Alright, so let's see. The next article we're going to get into here. Alright, this one has some anime and again a little mix of video gaming with the anime stuff here, like we did the other day. So why anime adaptations of video games always choose male over female protagonists? Nowadays, video game protagonists have become much more diverse, but for games that get adapted into an anime, that diversity is still lacking. Article by Paige Velocin, published 10 hours ago. So you see right there, let's see, there's May right there up front from Pokemon. And Dawn, I guess these are some of the female Pokemon creators. Got May and Dawn there who are both, coordinators. I guess these are all coordinators, as far as I know. When one thinks of video game protagonists, most iconic faces that come to mind are typically male. Mario, Link, and Sonic are a few big names that most people, even those that aren't familiar with video games, would immediately recognize. They're so iconic and that replacing them with a new face would likely cause an outrage of unimaginable proportions within the gaming community, like they're trying to do in anime and comics and all that, right? Let's see now. We continue on here. Let's see. Yeah. So nowadays, video game protagonists have become much more diverse. More and more female protagonists have started to rise in prominence. In fact, most video games these days allow players to choose between a male or a female protagonist. But for those games that get adapted into an anime, that diversity is still severely lacking. Okay, so we probably did read that one already. Moving on to the next paragraph here. When an anime adapts a video game with a male and female protagonist, the main question that needs to be answered is whatever it will choose to focus on, the male one, the female one, or on rare occasions, both. Typically, the first option is chosen. There are a few reasons why this is usually the case, but the most common one is because of the target demographic. Games like Fate Grand Order were written with a male audience in mind despite there being an option to play as a girl. This is most evident in the game's writing. Numerous female characters will throw themselves at the protagonist's feet, regardless of gender, but the male characters will rarely ever show the same level of affection. Even characters that are known to be womanizing will still treat the protagonist the same way they would treat other male characters, even if the player is female. So, predictably, the two existing anime adaptations of the popular mobile game um, chose to focus on the male protagonist, although the female protagonist does make an appearance in the more gag focused spin off Carnival Phantasm. Interestingly, and they're talking about the Fate series, I guess. Um, Interestingly, the female protagonist is obviously more popular than her male counterpart, receiving more figures and merchandise made in her likeness, but evidently the popularity isn't enough for her to appear in any mainline anime adaptations of the game. Yeah, Carnival Phantasm is more of a, as I said, a gag oriented comedy anime, whereas the other Fate ones are more like drama, action, adventure, so forth. Um, Grand Blue Fantasy is in a similar situation, but the female protagonist doesn't just get shafted by the anime adaptation. She's gotten shafted by the recent fighter spinoff as well. Grand Blue Fantasy versus has Jita, um, Vegeta, um, appear as paid DLC, whereas her male counterpart Gran is available from the get go within the base game. So basically, if you want to be Gran, you get it. If you want Vegeta, you have to pay for it. I think the thing I was getting at there. As with State Grand Order, female characters are also more likely to show an interest in the protagonist compared to male ones. For the for the Persona 3 films and Pokemon Origins, the decision to focus on the male protagonist is much more understandable. Unlike State Grand Order and Grand Blue Fantasy, the female protagonists from those games are not added until much later for the respective game's remake. As such, it makes sense that those anime adaptations would want to focus on the original heroes of the story, was written for, especially if they want to more more to the fans that played the original iteration of these games. All right. The Pokemon anime is a very interesting case. While Ash's design and backstory take inspiration from Red, the protagonist of Pokemon Red and Blue, he's treated as an entirely separate character. So, in that sense, while the anime does follow a male protagonist, it's not one that exists in the games the show is based on. In fact, none of the mainline games' male protagonists have ever made an appearance in the anime outside of a quick voiceless cameo. The anime does, however, frequently feature the female protagonist who serve as secondary protagonists to Ash. Um, while they never take the role of the primary protagonist, they still play a big role in the story and have a lot of focus placed on them. So what they're talking about, of course, they're talking about the corn leaders. They're talking about like um, May, Dawn, um, May and Dawn are the only ones I can really. Serena, talking about the coordinators, I believe there. Okay. Still play a big role in the story and focus, um, a focus placed on them. It's strange that his companions are only ever the Keenan female protagonist for that region, with the male protagonist rarely, if ever, appearing at all, instead replaced with a different character entirely. One could argue that having two dual male protagonists may risk taking the spotlight away from Ash, but the latest iteration of the anime sees Ash partnering up with another male trainer named Go. He acts as a co protagonist to Ash, and his story arcs are treated with the same level of importance as Ash's. So this once again begs the question as to why the anime is so averse to including the male protagonist from the games. There's a picture, of course, of Ash with Serena right there. Maybe it's due to fears that the male protagonist may prove to be more popular than Ash. Maybe it's because much of their story arcs and personalities ultimately prove to be too similar. Well, that one I could probably see. I mean, the male protagonist in the Pokemon game, the whole thing is about going through the regions, earning the 8 badges, and then going on to the Pokemon League, and trying to win the Pokemon League. So that could be it too. Or it could be that someone on the production team just really doesn't like it. Either way, the chances of a male protagonist in a game ever making an appearance in the anime are very low, but it isn't impossible. Many fans never expected Ash ever make an appearance in the trainer-focused mobile game Pokemon Masters, which follows Keenan lore in the games rather than the anime. But lo and behold, he made an appearance as an NPC in a recent event just last month. So perhaps certain things aren't as impossible as many fans think. Still, the chances of seeing any male protagonist take center stage in an animated adaptation are more likely to occur in a spin-off series like Pokemon Origins rather than the show proper. Let's see, this phenomenon isn't limited to just anime adaptations. It extends to manga and novel adaptations as well. Even Twisted Wonderland, a mobile game that's known to cater to a female demographic, has featured a male protagonist in place of the player character for both the manga and novel adaptations. But bigger franchises that have had multiple manga adaptations allow for more opportunities to allow for both male and female protagonists to shine, particularly those that have multiple roots, like Fire Emblem Fates. Whether later animated adaptations will choose to continue this trend or finally break it remains to be seen. There are still many games that have yet to be adapted, so here's hoping more anime productions will be willing to give female protagonists the spotlight for a change. All right, so there we go with that one. Let's see. So I think we have one more anime artist. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we do have one more to go through. Before I get to that, though, I'm going to need to step away one more time from the computer. I'll be right back. Get that all set up. Let's see. Alright, here we go. Alright, so this is going to be the last anime related article, of course, for you. This is in regards to the new, the new rebooted version of the Your Stay Sura anime. So here we Alrighty then. Alright, Your Stay Yatsura. New fans can expect from the rebooted classic anime. Here's a general idea of what makes Urusei Yatsura a cultural milestone of anime and what newer fans should expect from its reboot. Article by Mark York, published 4 hours. Now here in the States, of course, Urusei Yatsura was known as Lum the Invader Girl. That was what it was known as in the States. There's a certain upcoming series that many older anime fans are really looking forward to. In October 2022, Yurusei Yatsura is making a return to screens around the world. As for just what makes this particular reboot so exciting, there are a lot of answers. To generalize, Yurusei Yatsura is a cultural landmark in anime and possibly Japan in general. Both the manga and anime were worked on by people who would go on to be prolific members of their respective industries. Its successes led to the popularization of many tropes that continue to be used in anime to this day. So much of what makes modern anime what it is can be traced back to this one series. Oh yeah, I'm in the middle. Of it. The guy at the far right there's like, what am I doing? Yurusei Yatsura follows the regular hijinks of Ataru Moroboshi, a dull, misfortunate teenage lech. Um, through some unlikely circumstances, he ends up being pursued regularly by two cute girls. A flying electrokinetic alien Loom and the ridiculously strong childhood friend Shinobu Miyaki. These three and many others get into all sorts of ludicrous situations involving aliens, alternate realities, supernatural creatures, and more. I mean, the more I hear about this series, the more I want to watch it. I mean, I prefer to watch the original one, but I don't think there are a whole lot of copies of the original dubbed version. The dubbed version of Black Mirror. Love, I'd love to see like the original English dubbed version of this show. I mean, it's even from the same company that gave us also like Yu Hakusho, uh, Fleet, Naruto, Terra, Studio Terra. Despite the series' odd premise and absurdist humor, what Yurusei Yatsura is really known for is helping to popularize the tropes associated with romantic comedy. Because of it, things like both the love triangle and the harem, the dense anime protagonist, and the girls getting angry over funny misunderstandings have all become commonplace through anime, which is true. Which is true. Those are all love triangles, harems. those are common anime tropes. I mean, I could name quite a few harem anime out there, many of which are are have been dubbed over the years by ADV slash Sentai. A lot of them out of that, out of that one. Of course, probably another popular one from way back when, of course, is That's another parallel. Probably got some inspiration for this one. Um, with that said, Yorosei Yatsura wasn't necessarily a pioneer in these departments. It's just the series' popularity is what led to its trope being used more often. If anybody notices a familiar trope while watching this anime, there's a good chance that they're the ones who helped make it a trope. All right. But anyways, continuing on, the cast is also noteworthy for how multifaceted each character is. Ataru may be a dumb pervert, but he can also be human and grounded when the situation calls for it. Lum is possessive of her quote unquote darling and will try to electrocute him whenever he seems to be getting too close to another girl. That's kind of funny. You have a girlfriend that wants you so badly, she can electrocute you, keep you from getting too far away from her. That's kind of funny. Um, this would be annoying in other anime. It would be annoying in other anime girls, but she makes up for it with her bubbly personality and undying love for him. Shinobu can be a brute. More often, she tries to be as kind, caring, and whatever else is necessary to be the ideal woman. Man, this is an anime. I wish that the original '80s stuff was available. Wish it was. It's cool. It's such a fun anime to watch. Sounds like it would be very entertaining. Man, I would love to watch. I would love to watch. I mean, the reboot will probably be good too. I would. I know that the original '80s version ran for quite a while. It ran for like 5 or 6 years, and uh, it would be quite something to watch. I wish I wish they had the original. I wish the original '80s original the English dub of the original '80s version out there. Not that's a pain in the rear. Let's see. Similarly, the rest of the cast has their quirks and human traits and make them fun and surprisingly relatable. There's a Taru and Lum right there. She's all like really into it, and he's like, "Come on, get off me." As for how all of this will translate into the 2022 reboot, that remains to be seen. Well, especially if you've got woke people working on it. You've got woke people, especially woke people stuffing it. You're going to be pushing agendas. It will be a problem. They'll probably just sap all the fun out of it. The nudity and other potentially problematic aspects might have been might have to be toned down, as is the case with all classic anime that have made it into the modern era, which of course is totally BS that it should that they feel they should have to do that. Anyways, unlike the original series, the art style is a big departure from the manga style, uh, though that gives the series more of an identity. The anime, depending on how many episodes there are supposed to be, may end up skipping some of the more episodic storylines or content with long-term effects on the plot, given the episodic nature of Yurei Sakura. This would be a bad idea. The series may not be as groundbreaking since it's a reboot, but it will at least get modern anime fans interested in the iconic series. Well, I'm already interested in the iconic series. I just wish the English dub was available. I would love to see the original English dub. I would love to see the English dub of the original 80s version of the anime. Anyways, however, the reboot turns out. However, the reboot turns out, it should be a worthwhile experience for anime fans, old and new. It will be uh, it will be rekindling the flames of a classic series and reintroducing it to the latest generation of audience. Might not be the same cultural milestone as its predecessor, but it doesn't have to be. Yorosei Yatsura, in general, is a series that all anime fans should strive to familiarize themselves with, whatever form it may take. Again, I would love to see the original English dub. I'd love to see the original English dub of the TV series. Apparently, either it was never done or made. Anyways, with that, let's get ready to move on to comic stories. Because we got three related there. over. We can be on. All right, so here's the first comic article we're going to do. So, Miles Morales, America Chavez, and more from Marvel's Latin Heroes variant series. Artist Leonardo Romero crafts a collection of special variant covers featuring Latin Marvel heroes in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month. Article by Noah Dominguez, published hours ago. This September, Marvel Comics celebrates National Hispanic Heritage Month with a new installment of Marvel's Voices, uh, uh, Comunidades, a quote, giant-sized one-shot of uplifting and action-packed tales set throughout the Marvel Universe, unquote. Moreover, House of Ideas has tapped artist Leonardo Romero of Hawkeye and Shuri to create a collection of special variants spotlighting some of the publisher's Hispanic and Latino characters. They're still even using the term Latino instead of Latin, Latinx. So maybe Marvel figured out something there that, oh yeah, maybe we don't want to use that term. In total, Romero has illustrated six quote Marvel Voices community covers unquote, which will ship with various Marvel titles throughout the month of September. Robbie Reyes, Ghost Rider, stars on Romero's variant of Ghost Rider number 6, while Anya Corazon, Aranya, stars on the variant for for uh, Amazing Spider-Man number 9. Sam Alexander, Nova, takes flight on the Avengers Forever number 9 variant, while Bobby DaCosta, Sunspot, keeps things up on the New Mutants number 30 variant. Um, Sam Alexander, that doesn't sound like a Hispanic name to me. Maybe his mother's Hispanic, I guess. Um, and America Chavez leaps into action on Strange number 6 variant. Finally, Romero's cover for Miles Morales Spider-Man number 42 features none other than Miles Morales Spider-Man himself. So when we look at it, get the we're about to get the variant covers here. These are the images I guess they're talking about. Let's see. On sale, number 7, Ghost Rider number 6, Marvel's Voices Community variant cover by Leonardo on sale the 14th. Amazing Spider-Man number 9. Okay. 21st, Avengers Forever number 9. New Mutants number 30. Strange number 6 on sale the 28th. Miles Morales Spider-Man number 42. Marvel celebrates Hispanic Heritage Month. Marvel's Voices Comunidades number 1 is slated to hit comic shops on Wednesday, September 28th. Smack in the middle of Hispanic Heritage Month. Yeah, that's more like towards the end of it, I would think. Let's see. In the middle of which lasts from September 15th out. Okay, over 15th. A one-shot features a star-studded roster of Latin creators, including writers Fabian Micciezzo, Edgar Delgado, Alex Segura, and Zoraida Cordova, well as such artists as Paco Medina, Roge Antonio, and Yasmin Flores Montañez. Legendary creator Fabian Micciezza um, takes to the stars in an action-packed Nova adventure. Unquote, comics official solicitation at Greek. Quote, superstar Edgar Delgado continues to show off his writing chops with a spine-tingling spider escapade of Morales, and award-winning author Alex Segura blazes a new trail for White Tiger and introduces a brand new character to the Marvel music. And that's only scratching the surface, not to mention amazing lineup of new and established artists lending their voices to this outstanding anthology. Uh, Trust us, you don't miss out. Albert Rosas Comunidades uh, goes on sale 28 from Marvel Comics. Okay, so there's that one. Here's the next article we're going to look at here. All right. So anyway, moving on to the next article here. The Joker is Batman's partner in Mark Silvestri's first DC Black Label series. The Joker will become Batman's sidekick in a new 7-issue DC Black Label limited series launching later this year by Mark Silvestri. Um, article by Brandon Schwer, published 12 hours ago. Batman is teaming up with his worst enemy in a new adult-only DC Black Label series coming later this year from Mark Silvestri. Batman the Joker, the Deadly Duo, is a new 7-issue limited series published by DC Black Label, launching in November. Initially announced at San Diego's Comic Con 2018, the series comes from writer-artist Silvestri, chief executive officer for Image Comics. Batman the Joker, the Deadly Duo, marks Silvestri's first DC Black Label series. Quote, Batman and the Joker are two of the world's most iconic characters and have been at each other's throats for more than 80 years, unquote, Silvestri said to the series. Quote, I always thought it would be pretty entertaining to have them on the same side, so I wrote a story about it. Needless to say, stuff happened. You have a man obsessed with eliminating crime, and another man is just outright homicidal. They even got a thing of Harley Quinn right there in there. First issue of the series, we'll see the Joker trying to rescue Harley Quinn after she's kidnapped by a group of mysterious criminals. Quote, but who would be brazen enough to incur the Joker's wrath by committing such an unthinkable act, unquote. You see tease for Batman the Joker, the Deadly Duo #1, quote, to compound the terror, serious Joker-like creatures are, are stalking the streets of Gotham, collecting several heads, and no one knows why. Furthermore, Jim Gordon is missing, and after receiving a package containing a bloody piece of Gotham Police Commissioner, Batman realizes he must be willing to do anything to save it. But how? The Joker proposes an uneasy alliance with Batman. The answer to those questions begin to become clear. They will shake Gotham City and Batman to their core. Following in December, Batman the Joker Study Duo #2 will see the pair struggle to put their differences aside when a quote, peace, unquote, Commissioner Gordon arrives at the Gotham City Police Department. So hopefully they can work together fast while there's something left for Jim Gordon, unquote, DC said. This story is promising to be pretty gruesome, isn't it? What, they're gonna be dealing with some kind of sadist who's into chopping people up. We're gonna be dealing with a Hannibal Lecter like individual here, something like that. Maybe this will be a case where we'll see Zaz involved. We were talking about him last. Batman the Joker, the Deadly Duo #1, features cover and variant art by Silvestri. Additional variant cover art by Greg Capullo of Dark Knight Death Metal and Batman, Pal Hot, and Jorge Fornes. The issue release is November 1st. Batman the Joker, the Deadly Duo #2, comes out on November 6th, and also features cover and variant art by Silvestri. Additional variant covers for Batman, Joker, the Deadly Duo #2 from Kelly Jones, Jim Lee, Yannick Paquette, and Christopher Mitten. All covers for both 32-page issues are cardstock. Alrighty then. So we have one more comics article to go through, then we'll have a cartoon one to go through. Alrighty then. So here's the last comics article. Fantastic Four's new creative team is Squirrel Girls Ryan North and Dark Ages Ivan Coelho. Creative team behind Marvel's upcoming Fantastic Four relaunch is unbeatable Squirrel Girls Ryan North and Dark Ages Ivan Coelho. Article by Brian Shore, published 7 hours ago. Ryan North and Ivan Coelho are taking on a new Fantastic Four series for Marvel. Announced by Entertainment Weekly, North and Coelho are teaming up for Fantastic Four relaunch later this year. North has worked on a number of Marvel series in the past, including 2015's The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl and 2020's Power Pack. Coelho previously worked on Marvel's Dark Ages limited series which launched in 2021 and concluded earlier this year, among other titles. A new take on the Fantastic Four. North teased the new relaunch would tell, quote unquote, smaller stories using Marvel's first family. Quote, I had the advantage that Dan Slott's run went super huge, unquote, North said. Quote, in the most recent arc, the Reckoning War, quote unquote, they saved not just the universe, but the multiverse. They made the choice obvious. I'm never going to go as big as Dan did. So let's tell smaller stories about the Fantastic Four. That was my way in. North explained the first three issues of the series will focus on individual members of the Fantastic Four. The first following the aftermath of Ben Grimm, the Thing's recent marriage to Alicia Storm. The second featuring Reed Richards and Sue Storm. Um, and the third starring the Human Torch Johnny Storm. Before the team then comes, to comes together again uh, for their mission. Well, I want to do these smaller, self-contained stories in the vein of 60s Star Trek, where they go down to a planet, find a weird thing, fix the weird thing, and move on. Unquote. He said, quote, having these four weirdos roll into town where there's a mystery or a problem or some sci-fi thing, solve the problem, and then move on, struck me as a very interesting way to position the Fantastic Four and tell stories that would feel fresh, not like a retread of what's been before. Marvel initially teased a new creative team was coming on board for a Fantastic Four relaunch at San Diego Comic Con. Current Fantastic Four series will end with Fantastic Four number 48 in October, and Slott, who boarded the series in 2018, is departing the series following Fantastic Four number 46. Final two issues come from writer David Hode and artist Juan Cabal, releasing on September 21st, Fantastic Four number 47. Also served as a tie-in to Marvel's Judgment Day crossover event. The new Fantastic Four relaunch features cover art by Alex Ross. Will kick off in November from Marvel. There we go with that one. So we have one last article to go through, or we're finished up here. This one will actually be a cartoon article regarding a cartoon. Some basically release information on Young Justice. Uh, that, according to HBO Max, not getting a fifth season. Alrighty then. So, Young Justice, HBO Max has Young Justice. HBO Max has no plans for a fifth season. HBO Max and Warner Brothers reportedly have no intentions to renew DC animated series Young Justice for season 5 after its move from DC Universe. Um, okay, and I wonder if this 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 is somewhat also related to some of the stuff that David Zaslav is doing. Um, article by Haley Rose Lion 6 hours ago. Young Justice may not be getting a fifth season. According to known TV line scooper Matt Webb Petovich, Young Justice Season 5 is not currently in the cards for streamer HBO Max. So HBO Max from Go had only ordered a single season of the one-time Cartoon Network and DC Universe series, and that plan has not changed. Quote, Mitovich wrote. Quote, so this is even before that. Quote, there are currently no plans for season 5, I am told. Young Justice originally premiered on Cartoon Network in 2010, with its first season running through 2012. The network renewed the series for a second season titled Young Justice Invasion, which ran from 2012 to 2013. Young Justice was canceled by Cartoon Network in 2013. Now, new life in 2019, the third season, Young Justice Outsiders, which ran on the now defunct DC Universe um, streaming service. Amid DC Universe's shuttering, the show moved to HBO Max for its fourth season, Phantom. The first half of the season was released on the streaming service late 2021, and the second half began streaming in March 2022. The final installment of the 26th episode fourth season hit HBO Max on June 9th. Fans of Young Justice are already rallying for pressure on HBO Max to reconsider the decision. Some have expressed disappointment at the prospect of the series being canceled a second time, especially when the Young Justice Season 4 finale offered several teasers for future storylines, such as the ultimate fate of General Druzad and his followers. Young Justice being canceled on a cliffhanger is something fans might have done well to expect. Um, However, series co-developer Greg Weiss has been adamant that Young Justice has no ending. Quote, I keep saying over and over, it never ends, unquote, he wrote in 2021. Quote, there will never be a quote unquote proper ending to Young Justice. Ever, ever, ever. So we'll either get more or we won't. Meanwhile, we have a game plan for at least 3 more seasons figured out. And by the time we finish those, we probably have 3 more. But days before the release of Young Justice Family's finale, Weissman uh, claimed the series' fourth season is performing well. Quote, our numbers this season on HBO Max are stunningly good. Unquote. He wrote, quote, today I saw numbers indicated we have more views this year than any other animated superhero series on any streaming service. He even beat out a couple of prestige live-action superhero series, unquote. Despite Young Justice's apparent popularity, however, Warner Brothers Discovery's seemingly volatile restructuring, which led to the highly anticipated Batgirl film cancellation, made it difficult to predict which projects will survive the company's strategic shift when it comes to its DC content. All 4 seasons of Young Justice are currently available to stream on HBO Max. Alrighty then, so there we go. So that's all for the articles. Right? So, anyways, so with that, um, coming up on 2 hours here. Um, Getting down towards the end of the show here, so it's probably a good time to start um, going over a wrestling roundup a bit here. Um, so with that, so just some quick little notes on, so WWE is continuing, Triple H is continuing to build the WWE in his image. We heard that there's, aside from, of course, some of the names that are talked about possibly being brought back in, including, of course, Sasha, those who were fired within the past year, including like Sasha Banks and Naomi and Johnny Gargano. WWE has signed 17 um, new superstars, many of them from their next in line program, former college athletes, stuff like that. Also, they've also got something going on where they're looking to start possible brand rivalry between NXT and NXT UK. And I guess some of the NXT UK members of the NXT UK locker room showed up at the NXT event last night. Now, maybe setting up for, as WWE, of course, continues their build for Clash of the Castle in Cardiff, Wales. So there's still a lot of talk on that. Um, and of course, Ron Brecker, of course, the son of Rick Steiner, who is the current NXT champion, was confronted by Trevor Bates, who thinks the UK champion. So furthering the idea that they might, furthering the idea that they might set up for a rivalry. Anyways, now going on to some AEW news, of course. As I mentioned tonight on Dynamite, and now, of course, we'll talk about the results tomorrow. You have in the main event, you're going to have what they're calling the Dragon versus Dragon Slayer match, which you have Bryan Danielson, who at one time in his career went by the nickname the American Dragon, taking on Daniel Garcia, who's calling himself the Dragon Slayer after his victory last month against Bryan Danielson, which he essentially knocked him out as instead of tapping, Bryan Danielson passed out pain um, as Daniel Garcia had locked in his version of what is known as, whether or not you want to call it the Scorpion Deathlock or the Sharpshooter or the other name. I can't remember the death. But basically the leg lace Boston crab, or something you might call it. He calls his version the Dragon. I guess as a homage to Jericho's lion. So tonight they're facing off against each other in a best 2 out of 3 ball game. Also happening tonight, Tony Storm looks to solidify her number one contendership after Chris Statlander's unfortunate injury. It looks like Chris Statlander will be out for quite a while as she tore her ACL, which is a major injury. Chris Statlander, who was the number one contender there during a match on, I believe, on one of the dark elevation episodes, going for a big boot against her opponent. She landed awkwardly and ended up tearing her ACL. I believe it's in her right leg. They for the one in her left, and now it's the right leg. So Tony Storm looks to solidify her number one contender status in a match against Thailand King. They're also going to have a tagging match in a match in a match in which three of the four competitors are second generation wrestlers. You have the Gun Club, Austin and Colton Gunn, who are the sons of Billy Gunn, who will be in their corner, taking on the team of varsity blondes of Chris Garrison and Brian Tillman Jr., of course, the son of Brian Tillman. And the night also starts off the quarterfinal matches of the trio slash six-man tag tournament, in which you have the team of the Young Bucks with a mystery partner taking on La Facción uh, Ingo, no, Ingo Der Nable, consisting of Andre El Dolo, Rush, and Dragon. And of course, over the next couple weeks here, the trio tournament is going to be happening, where the finals are going to culminate and all out on September 4th. Other matches that are already set up for the tournament. So this Friday, um, team of Trustbusters of Ari Davari, Slim J, Parker Boudreaux, are going to be taking on right now just um, they'll be taking on the 2-man team of Best Friends. Orange, Orange Cassidy, Trent Beretta, and Orange Cassidy, Trent Beretta, and Chuck Taylor. So that'll be going on. And two other matches that will probably play out next week. You have Death Triangle of Pac, Ray Phoenix, and Penta Oscura, taking on remember who they're. Oh, they're taking on the New Japan team of Will Ospreay and Aussie Open, and then um, the the last match will be the House of Black, represented by, of course, Malachi Black, um, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews, taking on Dark Order. Um, it hasn't been announced the exact members of which members of Dark Order will be participating in the tournament. For whatever combination, we know that Dark Order has been a very successful factor, at least in terms of win-loss record. Um, you've got Ken, you've got Evil Uno, you've got um, Alex Reynolds, you have John Silver, and of course, most recently, Adam Page has joined with them. Some people I know might call it a bit of a downgrade for Page coming off the fact he was he was just a couple months ago the AEW World Champion. Speaking of which, of course, there's a possibility that maybe looking at a possibility to have the unification match between CM Punk and interim AEW World Champion John Moxley at All Out as well. So those are some things to be looking forward to. And also on this Friday's episode of Rampage, aside from the Trustbusters being on Best Friends in the Trios tournament, you're also going to have Swerve in Our Glory defending the AEW World Tag Team Championship against a team of Private Party. So you got a lot going on there as well. So with that, now that we got all that out of the way, I think it's a good time to start winding down the show. As we always do, we take at the end of the show here, we take a look back at this day in news history. I do have some interesting tidbits for you here. Myself. Right. So first off, I'm going to head back 50 years ago today. As on this date 50 years ago today, find the cursor where I want it to go. On this date 50 years ago today, um, the 100th issue of Young Love went on sale on this date from DC. Now, the interesting thing about this title, this is kind of the second title under Young Love. Now, this particular book started out as All for Love Prize Comics for the first 38 issues, or yeah, no, first 17 issues. It was All for Love comics from Prize, starting all the way back in 1956. And in I believe it was 1969, it was turned into Young Love by Prize, and then with starting with issue number 39, DC took over publication of this book. So this book went to one title change and one company change. But this book, starting out as All for Love, and then becoming Young Love, hit issue number 100 here on this date back in 1972. Now, Young Love would end up, DC's Young Love here would end up becoming the last romantic-based comic that DC would cancel. Uh, this would be the last romantically based comic that would be canceled by DC. So on this date, 50 years ago today, 100th issue of Young Love, published at this point by DC, uh, went on sale on this date. Moving on to the um, next piece of news history. As on this date in 2007, this date in 2007, um, Phineas and Ferb would premiere on Disney Channel on this date in on this date in so 15 years ago today. The animated series, the cartoon Phineas and Ferb would debut on Disney Channel this date 15 years ago today. There we go with that one. And now, moving on to the last, going back just 5 years ago today, on this date, 5 years ago today, 2017, um, Eli Drake would defeat Eddie Edwards for um, the GFW um, World Heavyweight Championship. GFW, which stood for Global Force Wrestling, was a company that was founded by Jeff Jarrett. At this point in time, they were had kind of a working partnership with Impact Wrestling. So on this date, 5 years ago today, Eli Drake would defeat Eddie Edwards for the GFW World Heavyweight Championship. So I think, hey Rick, um, yeah, you kind of missed out. I already got through all the articles, my friend. But thank you for dropping in. I hope you can, of course, like and share the stream. Of course, since I do keep them up, if you want to go back and look up any of the stories, you're more than welcome to. Do appreciate the like and the share. Um, yeah, so this was a pretty good. With that, As I said, I do keep them up. So if you want to, go back and watch some of the stories from earlier, that'll be cool. And of course, don't forget, I'll be back here, of course, tomorrow with more news and stuff. And this Friday, of course, my special guest co-host will be Miss Diana Tomolovich from Derek Press. We'll be looking at, we'll be continuing our go through of April of 1939. We'll be bringing back to Jumbo Comic Volume 1, Number 8, I believe, as I said earlier, from Fiction House, published Fiction House Comics. I hope I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow and Friday. So until then, and thank you for those who drop in and like and share. Um, and I shall bid you all adieu. Bye.